Good morning. There are three things that are certain in this life: death, taxes, and Man United cocking it up from a 2-0 lead. We'll get to that. Good night last night, I thought. From an overs perspective, I didn't really pile in, but you can see we'll be targeting 0-0s at half time. We had a few of them, I think. Just trying to remember which ones. We nearly had an opening gambit. Ferencvaros did score first, but the goal was disallowed. That would have been an excellent angle in last night. Tottenham are riding high. Their odds looked really, really good value as well, but just one goal in it. Mighty Hoff, goal before half-time? Yes. So, next week, I'll be putting together my thoughts on overs. Initial thought, 15-minute break in a match where you fancy goals, particularly before half-time. In this particular instance, if you're doing the 15-minute break, I'd back over 2.5 goals, not over 1.5 goals. That's if it's 0-0 at half-time. Then you'll wait. If you get the first goal before half-time, that's your first cash-out opportunity. Simple as that. Waiting for 2 goals, of course, it all depends on when that second goal is scored. That's why I prefer over 1.5 goals. 1 goal assures you a really decent return. Lazio and Nice, job done for them. Ollie, that was a surprise. I thought Braga would have a bit more attacking flair, but it's obvious that the Portuguese form in La Liga doesn't translate outside just yet, anyway. Good result for Anderlecht. Possible you could have laid over 3.5 goals, back Sociedad +1 and waited for that equaliser, but it wasn't to be. This was a slip-up from Galatasaray. They've got Osimhen and Mertens up front, but they're conceding 2 goals to Riga. Poor stuff from the Manchester United playbook, it seems. Goodness me. Moving to the Europa League, AZ Alkmaar, another one. We've got a late goal. This is where you back over 1.5 goals. Now, that is a niggly time. You're going to, I think, what I saw, your profit would have been to a £40 stake, something like four quid because of the timing of the goal. But for me, you get out. What we're trying to do with this over 1.5 goals at half time, if it's 0-0, is to get an early enough opening goal that can yield you to a £40 stake, something like 20 quid green screen, very, very early on. But with a late goal, 72nd minute, single goal, that would have got you about a £4 green screen. So it's very versatile, isn't it, over 1.5 goals? It gives you a lot of time in which to get that single goal that you need in order to create either a profit position, marginal profit, break even, or a marginal loss. Elfsborg and Roma, well, insurance, laying over 1.5 goals, back Roma +1. I hope you did that because on Telegram I did say my last 2 plays would be Roma and PAOK. But of course I hope the inference is to take insurance. As you know, I do that with every single play. But I was wilting a little. It's getting to 4:35 a.m. But well worth staying up for. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy this as well. I did pass on, take on a Manchester United lead. Why not? It was rather tongue-in-cheek, but the entry point was good. You could have got 12.5 about Portugal. So really enjoyed that call, and I hope you made some dough from it, particularly if you stayed in for the 3-2. We've got some good plays as well. Noah laid that draw second half, part the arc, get out with the green. I don't think Mulder was yesterday, was it? Mulder was the third. Mulder and Larn, indeed. This is another over 1.5 goal play. Back over 1.5 goals at evens. for a very, very short priced favourite, absolutely bossing the in-play stats, but it was 0-0 at half-time. Northern Irish opponents, first goal, get out. So place the bet 1838, get out 1854. Just for that single goal, that's the impact it can have in a 1.5 goal market. If you can get evens about 1.5 goals, and it is possible. So some of the plays, let's have a look. 3rd of October, Ajax and Slavia Prague. Well, we did get, I took on the Ajax odds, 3.8 outsiders. They're leading. So I took a chance. We got a Sparta Prague equaliser, Slavia Prague equaliser. But we didn't get that second goal. You could have got out with the equaliser. Legia Warsaw and Betis, laying over 1.5 goals. Back Betis +1, ended 1-0 to Legia. You get paid out with the insurance there. Noah, over 1.5 goals. Again, look at the price, 2.26. The reason I got involved here, because Noah ended the first half with about 100 plus on the attacking pressure index, which is a special rating, which is calculated using an equation based on possession stats, I think, shot stats for the last 5 or 10 minutes. It's a very, very effective tool for indicating the potentiality for a quick goal. We got that from Noah in the second half. Straight in, 1.5 goals, over evens, get out with the first goal. £17.66 green. Very decent indeed. This is at the 1-1 equaliser for Slavia Prague. That's your green screen. Risk reward? Well, no, it's not risk reward, because what I did in this case, I negated my liability on the draw. Loaded profit on Slavia Prague. And that was a good move, because as it turned out, Ajax got a red card. No, that was PAOK. Sorry, my mistake. Slavia Prague did deserve to get that second goal, but just didn't cross the line. But it doesn't cost me anything. It cost me £2.08, in fact. Galatasaray and Riga just laying the very, very late draw here. Galatasaray letting a 2-goal lead slip. Could have managed to get that third goal as recompense, but no, low liability, no problem. Man United, £9.32 loss, £74 on Porto, £10.78 on the draw. At one stage, it was 3-2 to Porto. Wow. Good stuff. Do it. You know they're flaky at the moment. You know they can't be trusted. You certainly would not be backing Manchester United at 1.26, that's for sure. Really good stuff there. Fiorentina and the New Saints. This is, again, an over 2.5 goal play. It didn't quite get there, but we did get a profit in the over 2.5 goal market at 2-0 to Fiorentina second half. So you could have cashed out for a decent profit there. We're looking at something like, again, 20 odd pounds. Considering it ended 2-0, that would have been a good cash out. There's the Man United. That's the first goal. And that's your risk reward if you wanted to get out straight away at 2-1 or at 1-2. £11.38. Risk reward, it's all relative. If that was 93, that would be 113. If you wanted to stay in, you'd have been tempted with the draw and then stay in further tempted with the 74 quid for Porto. So all in all, some decent calls yesterday. And what was an enjoyable European night. Far better quality at this stage of the tournament than you'll have ever seen in previous tournaments. We don't get these kind of quality matches this early on. It's a deliberate act on the Champions League, Europa League part as well. Looking on to today, day off today, and I'm going to take the day off because I've been up very, very late for you this week. Napoli and Como, newly promoted Como. Napoli, newly managed by Antonio Conte. And you will see in the head-to-head, his influence on Napoli is rather obvious. 4 consecutive clean sheets. This is why I say to you, you must acknowledge new manager syndrome. New managers have a huge impact on a team's sudden change They're nowhere near the Napoli from last season. Awful side. Conte's got a little bit of discipline defensively. Como have got the work cut out this evening. If Como do score first, they're not going to be following that up, I don't think. Conte will not allow. You saw Conte when he was managing Inter Milan. They fought till the death. This is definitely shortlisted today. Landskrona shortlisted only on the basis of being an odds-on favourite at home. Superettan is researchable. It's not a very trustworthy league. We can get a quick snapshot of where Landskrona are in the league. Hello, they're fourth. Okay, and who are they playing today? Skövde. So let's have a look. Landskrona and Skövde. Skövde are at the bottom, so automatically that's on your shortlist, isn't it? You're not bottom of the league midway through a season for no good reason. Rizespor and Talyaspor, don't know enough about these two sides early on, but follow it via the in-play stats. Almere and Villensway, expectation for goals here, as is the expectation in the Eerste Divisie for goals. Soccerstats.com, of course, has a stat for that. Over 2.5 goals, 55% of matches. Goals per match, that's what we're after. 2.91 average. That's why this is such a solid league. Look at this, 76% for over 1.5 goals, which is our new best friend, particularly if you can get a 0-0 at half time. That's what I would be using tonight in the Eerste Divisie. Would be looking at that. So Soccer Stats, we've got the whole goals look at the Eerste Divisie. It is a strong goals league. It really is. Let's have a look at the incidences of over 1.5 goals now. I suppose 75% for Volendam. They'll certainly be on your radar for 1.5 goals, wouldn't they? 38% Young AZ, over 2.5. It's a pretty low yield, but we've only had 8 matches played. These percentages will rise markedly. You can be assured of that. If you want to have a look at more league stats, they'll show you the best leagues by 1.5, our new friend, and 2.5, and it should be sortable. So some of these leagues may not be tradable. Singapore Premier League could be tradable. It's mostly an afternoon league. The first real noticeable league, well, we're having to wait, aren't we? No real English Professional Development League. There we go. That's the starting point. 70% over 2.5 goals. That's why I keep harping on about that one. But we've got a lot of secondary leagues here that we can't really trade, which is a pity. So if we get rid of all the noise, the German Bundesliga is on a 67% over 2.5 goal splurge at the moment. So it's definitely 2 leagues to follow with the potential to use that over 1.5 goal strategy. Bundesliga 5, 65%. These figures are going to be, you're going to see the Norwegians here soon. They're going to be taking over. Not the Norwegians, the Dutch will be taking over these stats more than likely as the season progresses. 51% over 2.5 goals in the Eredivisie and 55% in the Eerste Divisie. Now, if you were to move that to 1.5 goals by league, you're probably going to get a very, very high percentage now in the Netherlands. Well, just 55% and 51%. So not quite there just yet. Sorry, 1.5. That's the one to the left of the bold. So let's have a look. 80% over 1.5 goal. 76% in the Eerste Divisie. So you've got carte blanche, I think. If it's 0-0 at half time, back over 1.5 goals. If you can get evens or higher, you saw that with Noah. Cash out at the first goal. Think about an exit point before. How much loss are you willing to take in the search for a goal? So that's why I keep going on about the Eerste Divisie. Very, very strong reputation, particularly over 1.5 goals. Bundesliga today, Augsburg against Mönchengladbach. Warning signs, 2.5 to favourite. I have done research for members of footballtradingprofits.com, so you can have a look at the breakdown there, but you should be on the back foot already with that kind of market. Cadiz, newly relegated, not having the best of times. They should be finding life a little easier, and they should be up around here, the newly promoted side, newly relegated side, but no. Where are they? Cadiz, they're 15th. So having a poor run at the moment, but definitely going to be on the shortlist. Why? Because they're newly relegated. They might dominate Huesca. You just don't know. Galway, odds on at home. I like 1.5 to 1.7 at home. Cobh Ramblers and Kerry. Well, Kerry are normally gettable. Cork City, top of the league. Another newly relegated side dominating the lower tier. That's what we want to look for. Verona and Venezia. I think Venezia, newly promoted, could be vulnerable. Verona did beat Napoli at home earlier on this season, so they could fire at home. But definitely newly relegated Venezia, newly promoted Venezia, possibly targeted today. Spanish La Liga was telling you it's incredibly tough to call this one. 2.88 the favourite. I have done the research for you. If you want to look at that, please remember the market's already giving you clues. 2.88 for all three. I haven't got a clue, mate. That's what the market makers say. This is probably one of the highest odds you're going to see about a favourite in a football match. So that's telling you the story already. Probably one best left off your coupon today. Professional Development Leagues certainly getting on the shortlist today. You know their reputation for over 2.5 goals. Tend to deliver. So really good pickings if you can somehow manage to get a 0-0 at half time. With our renewed focus on goals, Danish First Division is always worth shortlisting, as you've already seen the German Bundesliga. Let's have a look at the performance of the German Bundesliga 2 this season. It's been full of goals. We had 4 4s last week. Unbelievable. So Bundesliga 2, 84% over 1.5 goals, 65% over 2.5 goals. Put that one on your roster. So this might be something for you to look at intermittently, or perhaps just once a week, maybe before battling a weekend. Who are the best leagues? Maybe put it in this order so you can look at the league itself. English Championship, what's that looking like? Well, we can go all the way down. 71% over 1.5 goals, 46% over 2.5 goals. The one in the middle, goals per game, I think 5.42 in the Philippines. Wow. So plenty of interest there. That's why the Bundesliga 2 will be targeted today. We've also got a couple of odds on favourites at home as well. So it should make for an interesting match. Pair of matches at 5:30, particularly with a goals focus. With goals in mind, just like the Danish First Division, Danish Super League could see goals. AaB Aalborg have been full of goals. Keep an eye on it. In-play stats, of course, will help markedly in shortlisting your matches of interest. Where would we be without England Premier League 2 as far as over 2.5 goals is concerned? You can have another look here. Premier League 2. Premier League 2. So we've got a 91% over 1.5 goals, 72% over 2.5 goals. That's why I keep pestering you about the Professional Development League and the Premier League 2 for your shortlist for any overs strategies. French League 2. Automatically, we're looking at Martigues, newly promoted, could be vulnerable, certainly not fancied by the market. Red Star, similar story, away from home as well. Newly promoted, could be vulnerable. Odds on favourite Paris FC at home will get the shortlist as well. Sticking on the theme of newly promoted, Beerschot, again, look vulnerable today, don't they, in the Jupiler League. The market's saying, we don't think you're going to survive, mate. take the hint. Marseille at home tend to deliver. They've got no choice with mental support like that. 1.2 brings with itself its own expectations. Goal before half-time at least. 3 goals in total for Marseille at least. Very good candidate. If we can get 15 minutes out of this, potential to get over 2.5 goals at heading towards evens and hopefully get a goal before half-time. So I would wait 15, 20 minutes if it's still 0-0 and look to attack the overs markets that way. Sunderland and Leeds looks a tricky one on paper, doesn't it? 2.35 the favourite. Newfound defensive capabilities for Leeds after a couple of matches conceding 3 consecutive goals. They've put a cap on their opponents. 1, 2, 3 clean sheets, only conceding the single goal and against stout opponents, which suggests they might be able to keep Sunderland quiet today. Scored 2 against Plymouth. Newly promoted Portsmouth, so expected to win. Scored 2 against Derby. Yes, they're scoring 2+ goals, but this has a feel of a more defensively sound Leeds. Could be an interesting match this evening. I would be following it based on the in-play stats and a bias towards Leeds. And that's it today. We've got a free live chat webinar. You will find it here. If you're watching this video, you're here already. So come along. 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Open to all. Football trading profits.com/@football trading profits. Free to view, no obligations at all. Come along. We're in good form this week. You'll see it in the live section here. And I'll post the link below the video. That's the wrong date. 5th of October. I'll have to change that. I think I've done a new one. 5th of October, 2:30 p.m. If you can make it, details in the description. Have a great day. It's my day off today. A lot of late nights for me. I'm on tie time, but it's been well worth staying up for, I think, particularly taking on the mighty Man United. Fantastic stuff. Have a great Friday. I'll see members of Football Trading Profits and the rest of you for a free live stream tomorrow.